were the coming of the royal Beastflayers, for they are the hunting hounds of their vampiric monarchs. These ghouls believe themselves to be proud, questing warriors, tasked with ending some threat to their kingdom. In actuality, they are frenzied monsters, irrepressible in their pursuit of fresh meat. The ghouls of the flesh-eater courts endure a waking nightmare. The curse of the ancient undead lord Ojoran has long spread to his vampiric offspring, and from them to the wretches infesting broken nations across the realms. A mortal caught by the curse does not see the world as it truly is, aside from the occasional flash of horrifying insight. Instead, their perception is filtered through a blood-encrusted mockery of knightly virtue. Ghouls do not perceive themselves as mangy troglodytes, but rather as men-at-arms defending bountiful kingdoms. Entrail-strewn caves are proud castles, and the abhorrent ghoul king royals of the peerless valor and breeding. When the flesh-eaters strike, they come as a seething tide of unwashed flesh and filthy claws, but in their minds they are a disciplined army, marching to slay heinous villains. The remains of fallen enemies are in fact the finest of sweetmeats at a victory feast. For all the tragedy of their delusion, ghouls are monsters, their humanity crushed by acts of savagery and cannibalism. Nevertheless, they wholeheartedly believe that they are a virtuous chivalric court. Because of this, many traditions once practiced by kingdoms across the realms and crushed by the onslaught of chaos survive in twisted fashion amongst the ghouls. They still hold jousts and tourneys, though these take the form of horrific ogre-like knights, tearing one another to shreds as their fellow courtiers shriek in glee. The menageries of their kings are filled with blood-sucking monsters of the night, but menageries they remain. Most infamously, the ghouls maintain that time-honored display of skill and pageantry, the royal hunt. All ghouls hunt, for their hunger for flesh is insatiable. On occasion, a ghoul king may even lead their entire court on such an expedition, a truly grisly sight, with the ghouls banging upon drumskins of human hide and waving banners formed of rotting bodies impaled upon rusting spears to announce their coming. More regularly, however, it is a single vampire and their retinue that will embark on a beast-slaying quest. For many of the warped undead, this is merely a noble pastime, but some become addicted to the pursuit of deadly prey. Hunting the game no longer satisfy, even if these creatures are typically warped by dark energies and more than a match for the average warrior. The ghouls of these abhorrent entourages share this growing mania, viewing themselves as proud and fearless hunters, whose fortunes are bound to those of their lordly patron. These grisly parties are collectively known as the Royal Beastflayers. The Beastflayers find their origins in Baron Gizzard, a member of the legendary First Court of Ushuran. Ghoulish myth, such as it is, tells that Gizzard was once a commoner native to the rime-frozen Hellfrost Empire. He was a coarse man of the land, true, but no beast of the ice could escape the bite of his spear. The Hellfrost lay at the rim of Ushuran's protectorates, and when the Carrion King was delivered the pelt of the infamous frost drake Krataj, courtesy of this dauntless ranger, he eagerly bid Gizzard to join his court. Though his deeds saw him dubbed a baron and in time granted the blood kiss, Gizzard was an unpopular figure at court. He was common-born, and rather than indulge in finery, he and his men continued to wear the heavy furs and pelts that had warmed them upon the ice. Yet Ushuran would permit no harm to befall Gizzard. The vampire had once been a paladin himself, defending underworlds that paid obedience to Nagash, and saw something of himself in the hunter. Of course, when it comes to ghouls, it is impossible to know where maddened rantings begin and end, and the truth is the first casualty of their mania. The legend of Baron Ysard, however, has undeniably stuck in their deranged minds. As a commoner, Ysard is a popular folk hero amongst more lowly ghouls, especially those charged with patrolling the borders of their domains. However, certain vampires also find his tale attractive. Many of these abhorrents view themselves as descendants of his line, or even reincarnations of the famed hunter, regardless of whether the fiend in question is male or female. They hunger to escape the constraints of courtly life, chomping at the bit to pit themselves against what they perceive as dread beasts. These are audacious figures given to boasting and a lack of decorum, meaning that they are even more bloodthirsty than the average abhorrent. Yet to the Ghoul Kings, these volatile souls are perfect for leading the hunting parties that keep their domains free of monstrosities. In doing so, they also remove a considerable threat to a major source of food for the ghouls, that being nearby settlements of mortals. Royal Beastflayers answer directly to their king, or if their quests take them far from home, whichever abhorrent monarch holds power in the region. To assist in their battles against imagined evils, veteran Beastflayers are permitted to wield weapons taken from the royal armory. In reality, the gleaming chambers of armaments imagined by the ghouls are heaps of piled corpses in various states of decomposition, and only the most vicious of the cannibals have any hope of fighting back their kin long enough to yank a broken weapon from the mountain of fouled meat. But even these shattered blades are deadly. Decades spent immersed in a ghoul stronghold imbues them with magics of enervation and madness, and some have even been blessed by an abhorrent lord, smeared in his cursed blood and granted unholy power as a result. The royal Beastflayers believe themselves to be crusaders of righteousness, and on occasion they have indeed slain monsters that would otherwise wreak havoc. The hides of these creatures are messily flayed and carried back to the ghouls' keeps, where they are hung as hideous tapestries to mark the victorious quest. More often, however, the deeds of the Beastflayers spread misery. The bandits they bring to justice are in fact scouts for Dawnbringer crusades, whose deaths ensure that their comrades become lost in the wilds. The monsters they pursue are often mystical creatures bound to the lands, or even incarnates conjured by wild magic. Should these entities be destroyed, regions of the realms lose mystical protection and become susceptible to malignant energies and the spreading curse of Ushuran. Some say that Nagash works through the Beastflayers, manipulating their huntsmen's instincts in service to his dark ends. In the era of the beast, rampaging abominations abound, and there is no shortage of quests for the royal Beastflayers to embark on. In truth, the disciples of Baron Ysard could not be restrained anyway, what with the stench of quarry lying so thick upon the air. It is a grim irony that the more they gorge upon bestial flesh, the more akin to their prey these ghouls become. Their already tattered sanity, overwhelmed by a savagery fueled by Ger's raging essence. Yet though the Beastflayers grow ever more aggressive in their hunts, their strategy remains the same. Be their target man or beast, the ghouls pursue them with relentless fervor, gradually overpowering them through sheer numbers and frenzied, maiming strikes, sapping the prey of strength and rendering it vulnerable to a gruesome coup de grace from their vampiric leader. Warbands of royal Beastflayers have come to the Gnarlwood to hunt and slay great monsters and perform what they believe to be valorous feasts worthy of song. Their crazed delusions and insatiable hunger for meat render them an unpredictable and dangerous force, and to cross paths with them is to meet with disaster. It was the ravages of the forest drake Calcodrax that drew many royal Beastflayers to the Gnarlwood. When that beast attacked Deadfang's tower, it made itself a target for any ghouls looking to earn glory and renown. To slay the dragon, tear off its claw-scarred hide and parade it back to the keep of Archduke Deadfang would cement a Flamemaster's legend amongst the courts of the Gurish heartlands. Perhaps more unsettling, an entire nest of ghouls given the opportunity to glut itself upon the flesh of an elder drake would be granted unholy strength enough to become a real power in Thondia and possibly beyond. Yet nothing is simple when it comes to the flesh-eaters. Their collective delusion is malleable, and once an idea has infected one of the vampiric abhorrents, it soon possesses their loathsome followers also. As such, the exact objective of a Beastflayer warband's quest often changes once they are within the Gnarlwood. In the case of Flaymaster Margora, a chance encounter with a Realm Shaper engine convinced her that a clutch of dark-hearted dragons was about to hatch, and only by rallying her fellow knights to destroy them could Gur be saved. It was the sort of heroic deed that ghouls are inclined towards, though their actions threatened disaster for Talaxis. Margora was not alone in her obsessions. From far and wide, Beastflayers came to claim the bounty of Calcodrax's head, and many of their Masters were seized by new, insane urges. During a skirmish with Sylvanet tree singers, Herolf Strongclaw became convinced that the forest spirits were a cult of sinister druids, and that it was his duty to prevent them from poisoning the verdant woodland. He did so by performing rites of purification upon what he believed to be fonts of dark power, though in actuality, by smearing cursed gore upon ancient waystones, he severely weakened their power and accelerated the forest's slide into corruption. Malobrak the Lance believed that he was visited by visions of Ushuran that directed him to seek the source of a lethal cold spreading beneath the forest floor. To protect against this chill, the Flaymaster believed he would first need to bathe in a hideous mixture of swamp water and human blood. Pergrin the Choleric came closest of all to uncovering the truth of Talaxis. Having heard the legend surrounding the ruin, the abhorrent deduced that it was the lair of his nemesis, the warlock Saragul. The fact that Saragul had never actually existed did not prevent the Flaymaster from hunting and devouring any warband he encountered, believing they were the sorcerer's minions spreading evil abroad. Flaymasters are abhorrents who find themselves unsuited for what they consider the elaborate aristocratic rituals and cutthroat politics of their kind. Rather, they hunger to make their name through the slaying of monsters and claiming of pelts. So fanatical is their desire to hunt that they think of nothing else. Like the legendary Baron Yizard, many were uplifted from the ranks of the common ghouls, allowed to sup the ichor of their monarchs until they swelled with vampiric power. While this renders them pariahs amongst the true-born relations of the king, and often unfancied scions for assuming control of a court during a succession crisis, lesser ghouls perceive them as possessing irrepressible charisma and will. Clad in mantles of skin torn from their choicest victims, a Flaymaster is a deadly pursuant. As undead, they never tire, and their indefatigable murder lust spreads to the ghouls around them. At the outset of a quest, a Flaymaster believes that they chain their sanctified blades to their wrists in the manner of a gallant oath-sworn warrior. In actuality, they drive rusting spears and halberds through the meat of their limbs and let their deathless resilience do the rest, becoming literally one with their weapons. This seal extends to every action a Flaymaster takes, and ensures that ghouls are drawn to them like beacons amidst the fog of madness. Sometimes even enemies will be seized by the vampire's deranged force of will, joining the Beastflayers upon their hunt. Minor nobles among the ghoulish courts and brethren-in-arms to the Flaymasters, Beastflayer barons are veterans of many hunts. Each has tracked and slain some notorious monster, taking its remains as trophies and earning the favor of their abhorrent master in the process. The grim truth is that these creatures often were sacred tribal guardians and totem beasts, and their death led to disaster for the mortals that venerated them. By feeding upon the flesh of such quarry, the Beastflayers grow large and savage, which in turn ensures that they can secure rusting weapons from the armories of their king. The cursed magics clinging to these blades grant them wicked potency, especially alloyed to the physical brutishness of the Beastflayers. Gore squires form a seizable part of most Beastflayer parties. Through some act of battlefield bravery, they have come to the attention of their betters, permitted to join the hunt and learn the tricks of their bloody trade. Though they adorn themselves in the remains of predators, Gore squires have yet to make a truly glorious kill, and thereby cement their name amongst the courtly hierarchy. This desire for prestige sees them fight with rabid courage to impress their liege. By feasting on the flesh of worthy prey, they absorb a measure of their strength, able to disembowel foes with their bare hands or drive their rusty blades through weak points in armor. Trackers are the lowliest ghouls of the royal Beastflayers, drawn from a court's serfs. They are chosen less for martial skill, though they can fight with frenzied determination, and more for their familiarity with local terrain or expertise in locating prey. They are sent out ahead of the hunting party, flushing quarry from hiding or slowing foes by selling their own lives, allowing the Flaymaster and their retinue to deal with the true threat. Some Flaymasters view their trackers as low-born chattel to be expended at whim, but those with more altruistic delusions consider these ghouls as the most courageous of the peasantry. Ghoul kings lavish attention upon their menageries, dank caverns filled with all manner of undead abominations. To poach from a king's private reserve is a capital crime, yet some especially ravenous ghouls attempt it. All the same, few succeed. If not savaged by their intended prey, they are captured by patrolling guards and subjected to a grisly fate. In the eyes of the ghouls, these condemned souls are force-fed potions or lowered into cauldrons by cackling sorceresses. The truth is no less horrific. They are hurled into pits where primal arcane energies coagulates, forced to gnaw upon discarded beast bones and suckle curdled marrow until their bodies distort into something between simian, chiropteran, and slavering canine. Their minds collapse, whatever trace of sanity that remained crushed beneath their animalistic madness. In the era of the beast, these transformations have been known to happen spontaneously as waves of magic sweep the realms, believed by the ghouls to be some lycanthropic curse inflicted on their kind by vengeful wood witches. These so-called offal hounds are then sent to guard the same menageries they violated, and are fed spoiled entrails that even ghouls hesitate to touch. Most flesh-eaters view the fate of these creatures as cautionary tales, but Flaymasters, naturally independent souls, feel a touch of sympathy for them, recognizing that their punishment was a result of their irrepressible urge to hunt. These vampires will have a pack of offal hounds accompany their quests, allowing them to indulge their bloodthirsty urges. An offal hound's senses are sharp enough to pick up on prey leagues away, and they can smash a warrior's bones with one swipe of a claw. Worst of all, a trace of humanity lingers upon their tormented features, one that mortals cannot help but find unsettling.
This is me again, chiming in to thank you for watching the video. Please don't forget to like, subscribe and comment. All of those things help me out immensely. If you feel so inclined, do consider to become a member to gain a greater influence over the content, early access, and just generally help me out. If you like this particular video especially much, feel free to click the thanks button as well to leave a small donation. All of those things are 100% optional, and I will never keep videos permanently locked behind a paywall, as my main goal is to spread the love for these games as much as possible. A special thanks to my members, whose legendary names are scrolling right before your eyes at this very instant. Don't forget, the games are not only about winning, but also creating unforgettable memories with your friends and opponents. That's it for me. See you soon. Bye bye.